guys think we're good? Good. Okay. All right. Medical report. Really have no status. Everyone's good to go. So Olave's good. Chase Young's good. Jawan, Alvin, and Gotcha. So those guys were on it previously, and we're ready to roll. Open up for questions.
How do you feel about bulletin board material? Are you a believer in that?
You can find stuff if you want to dig in every single week. You can find motivation in every possible way, and so these are division games. Everyone's excited about division games. They're opponents that you have a lot of familiarity with, and so our guys will be excited.
You didn't mention that to Baker's comments.
No, I mean they're aware of it. They're fine. Our guys understand what's going on out there. So I think our guys are just really excited about this game. That last year there was a couple really good battles that were close. Tampa was able to get those victories, and so we're excited to go after this one.
What is having obviously lost McCoy, Kendra, but an otherwise healthy roster do for you guys?
I think we've done some good stuff as far as just make sure our guys are available during the games heading into the week. As far as all the soft tissue stuff, I think just the way we train and practice, and I think the guys have done an awesome job with the recovery and the rehab and all those sorts of things. And so there's orthopedic things. There's obviously season-long things that somewhat you can't always control those variables. Those are challenging situations. But I think our guys are doing a good job from that standpoint.
What do you make of being at week 8? This is your first division matchup. It feels kind of late for.
It is, yeah. It's a unique aspect. Every schedule always has these unique components. Playing our division, obviously on the later side of this thing, is a little bit unique, but it'll be fun. Obviously, you'll feel like there's one of these about every other week moving forward, and so it'll be some fun games.
I believe this is the first time Spencer has gone against a team that's faced him before, as in a game he's started. Does that require a little more self-scouting in terms of going back and looking how they've done things against him in the past? And
that's a good question. I think we definitely have utilized last year's game film because Spence played in both those games, and so there is Spencer against this defense, against the way Todd handled it. So there is a little bit of film from that standpoint, which is a little bit different. But these guys have always done a great job. They're always right in it every single year for a reason, and they do a really good job. So it'll be fun.
What do you think it does for Spencer having that experience of facing these guys twice?
Yeah, I think he could recognize there's some good in those games. I thought there was a lot of positives going in those games. Ultimately, it fell short, but there were some real positives in there that we kind of lean into. Anytime you see yourself, playing that opponent, and there's some component of success, I think there's some positives to lean into.
That first game especially, you rolled out a ton. It felt like designed rollouts. Was that just like a tool to help a rookie quarterback, or is that just like something he does really well, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know the game plan going into that game, but I think certainly Spence is very comfortable out in space. He does do a really good job of that, whether it be by design or off schedule, and so Spence always handled that pretty well.
Devin Neal, just how have you seen him kind of stepping forward into a bigger role this week?
Great job all week. Devin's prepared. He's ready to go. He was ready last week when the opportunity presented itself, and so obviously you'd imagine his numbers will increase. They'll be more than what they were last week, and so he'll do a great job.
We've heard a lot about how he's a very smart player, very cerebral player, especially for a rookie. How has that kind of coalesced for y'all in terms of working together?
He's done a great job. He's always prepared each and every week. He's a guy that doesn't make a lot of mistakes. You quickly realize if he's seen it and he's visualized it and it's gone into the game plan, he can go out there and execute at a really high level the first time. And I think that's really valuable when you're kind of in that backup role behind Alvin, because you really don't know what plays may occur. Alvin may come out, need a blow for a couple plays, and all of a sudden you got to go in there and execute whatever is called in that particular thing. It's not just a small package for him that he's playing. You're ready to go in any circumstance, so he's ready.
We've heard you talk a lot about process and how important you think that is to doing. Do you reevaluate the process on a weekly basis? Is when you're having some success and you're coming up short in other areas, do you have to think about how you're changing it so you can get the results you want?
Always. I think you're always you got things you believe in, but you're always constantly trying to get better. Whatever that may be, whether it be the way we study the red zone. Do we need to study and play, find better solutions there, whether it be third down on offense or, on defense, the third down pressure game, like how can we try and find more ways to create it? And so I think you're constantly trying to say, all right, this is where we're at. We feel good about these things, and what are the areas we can keep growing in and adjusting. And, that's all aspects of our organization, whether it's, the way we practice, the way we train, all those guys are doing a great job with that.
Is that different for you in this role versus OC when you do have to have your hand in a little bit more of what the organization?
Yeah, there's just other aspects of it. That's all it is. You get to communicate with a lot more people, which is a great opportunity. We got great people in this building, so it's been really good.
I don't know how much you've been asked about this, but analytics, during the season, how much do you lean on that? Especially now as a head coach?
Yeah, it's definitely part of the process for sure. Early in the week, recapping where you're at as a team, where the opponent is, trying to see if you can pick up on anything that could be an asset from a schematic standpoint or a game management standpoint. And so there's a lot of pieces to this.
How quickly and confidently has the offensive line responded this week, Valier?
It's been an excellent week. Luke hops in there. He's playing center. Tolly and Caesar continue to build that combination over there, and Trevor and Kelvin on the other side. And so I think the continuity, 4 of the 5 pieces are staying the same, which I think is a value. And Luke's done a nice job of hopping in there and communicating.
Back to the analytics, Spencer said a couple days ago, like if it's a 3rd and long, hey, try to get to 4th and 2 because that'll change the number. How involved are you in those sorts of percentages, or is someone just kind of telling you, hey, in this spot, go for it?
Yeah, there's certain thresholds and windows, and there's the field situations, and then there's the time clock and the situation of the game. So there's a lot of variables within when to make those decisions. And I think it's important just to communicate to the quarterback what type of third down is it. Sometimes it is, all yards are good yards, and you can take a completion and put yourself in a 4-down situation. And sometimes we got to go get it on that singular down. And so those variables just happen throughout the game, and you got to make sure the QB and everyone's kind of understanding of what the situation is.
Do you feel you have to change your play calling style or be a little bit more aggressive or unpredictable with the way things have started this season?
You're constantly evaluating it. It's kind of the same thing. It's a process, but you're continuing to try and find different ways. We've had a couple moments where we start fast, but not enough of them. And so you're constantly trying to find different ways to improve that aspect. Because again, that's an important part of these games. That you got to value every single possession from the very beginning all the way to the end, and everyone. The magnitude of the fourth quarter tends to be magnified, but it's all the other plays that count, and every single one counts for the same value from a execution standpoint. And so we got to execute and get ready to roll early.
With this concept of patience, like that we just haven't given them enough time, or they're not doing their job. Like, what is that balance like as a coach?
Yeah, we're all trying to improve and get better, and at the end of the day, we have urgency to win football games. That's our focus. And that's our goal. During that process, do we have some younger players playing in some roles? Absolutely, but every team has that. I don't think that's exception to our team. We got to go win some games. We got to play better, coach better. We got opportunities ahead of ourselves, which we're excited about, and we just got to keep making sure we give ourselves the best chance on Sundays.
When you played at Prosser or Boise, did you have a big rival that the game meant a little more? A little more juice in the game. Who's Prosser's big rival? Did y'all have one?
That's a good question. We had a few. The Ellensburg Bulldogs were one, I would say. They were a pretty good team. In college, we played this team up in Moscow, whatever that school is, Idaho. I'm stuck with a few of those guys on our staff still. We beat those guys pretty good each time, so apparently they won a few games. It just makes Doug and Scott and all those guys sound old because I never experienced that part. But, there's some fun battles. We all have those different teams.
Someone ever asked, or have we asked you about Doug Martin? Your thoughts on that?
Have not, no. Challenging situation. Really sad. Doug was obviously a teammate of a bunch of ours, during our Boise State days, and it's a challenging situation, just because you love Doug and such a good teammate person. The joy he brought to everyone was really, really special. And then for a sad moment like this, it also brings you closer to your teammates. One of the things that's unique about football is you get to team up with people from all across the world, all across the country. Our team was made up at Boise State of these guys from literally every state. then we all go our different paths, and then we kind of lose track of each other. And sometimes moments like these bring us back together. And so there is some element of that we get to reconnect and hopefully remind ourselves to connect better. This is a people business still, even when you're playing or coaching in any aspect. And so, while it's a sad deal, hopefully, allows us to come together a little bit more.
I know there's a different league, but did y'all, with the NBA news that broke this week, did y'all feel the need to address that at all? I just noticed there was sound in the locker room about gambling.
It's emphasized a lot through the NFL, certainly. We have not had a conversation per se in the team meeting setting, but obviously it's something that we're constantly talking about. I think our league does a good job of it, and at the end of the day, there's always that element of it that you just got to keep reminding everyone associated with this to make good decisions. All right. Thanks, guys.